same WDBO app. Open it up, find that button down in the bottom right-hand corner, send in your audio, and I'll push play live as if you're sitting in the room with Joe and Dave. Today's topic is Scam Busters, the retirement edition. It seems like everybody has either been scammed or they know somebody who's got scammed. And I actually have my stepmom got scammed from a Facebook marketplace thing using Venmo. So people are attacking people's accounts on Venmo all the way up to maybe someone's lifelong retirement account.
They are all over the place, and they are proliferating faster than you can keep track of them. So that was the topic that we decided for today. So Dave, take it away.
Yeah, good morning, Central Florida, and hello, Josh. Yeah, thank you for the lead-in. So as we lead in for this week, I can't believe it's the end of February already. We're getting into March. This week is actually the National Consumer Protection Week. So this is a week that's designated to talk about, educate, and hopefully inform people about how fraud is proliferating out there. They are relentless. They don't stay in any one lane. I mean, they are through their social media, your computer, your email. They are everywhere. So hopefully today's show, we want to talk a little bit about how to spot some of those things. Hopefully, learn something out of it. We'll talk about a couple of examples around, some recent scams that we've heard about, either with, in the community, and also some personal experiences that we've recently heard about. And then hopefully it's going to be something that is informing you on how to respond, how to react, how to manage, if you are somehow caught in the middle of something there. Okay, this is. But we talk about this also, just to add on to that, so 5th of March, so this is the Office of Inspector General at Social Security Administration. They've called it Slam the Scam Day, right? So again,
Slam the Scam, I like
Slam the Scam, that's what they call it. Believe it or not, they've been doing this for, I think, a few years now. So it's a designated day. It's about pushing out a lot of educational content. As seniors, again, we work with seniors all the time. We see them, obviously, you've worked hard, you've saved, you've built your assets, and you're prone to possibly browsing the internet in different places or, scrolling through your social media. So I'm sure you've seen this, right? So the thing that talks about, the tax trick that will double your refund. So there are sometimes related to Social Security. I was reading about a news article, and then at the bottom of the page, oh, did you know about the secret Social Security benefit that you can get $1,600 more per month if you click here? Check, verify your eligibility. So
we'll put your Social Security number and we'll check it for you.
Yeah, right. So essentially, this is something that happens all the time. So it's hopefully we can talk you through how to manage this, right? So essentially, what you find is they come and reach out either with a sense of urgency, right? So they want you to go fast. Or sometimes they call you with an intent of creating fear. Somebody being in danger, somebody hurt, somebody in desperate need for help and not reachable, and so on. So it's either fear or through speed. They come in usually bring in a conversation around so usually they're essentially coming in with authority. So they say they're from the agency and so on. And typically they bring people around. So it's usually the first person you talk to, and they kind of create more scenarios around legitimacy, around some concern that you might have. And then they'll offer a service for help. So they'll essentially say, oh, let me go bring in this other person who is either investigating this further or can help you navigate some kind of an issue. It could be a computer problem, it could be a money question. So they essentially bring in other people to give you that sense of legitimacy. So once they bring these things together, now you are caught up emotionally, right?
That's the key. Get you hooked emotionally. Because once you start losing common sense and emotion takes over, you don't know where it goes.
Yep. And so essentially this is how they get you pulled in, and then the tone changes. So now they are helpful. They're trying to solve a problem, but you have to pay them.
Of course.
And then the amounts can be sometimes as simple as a few $100s, sometimes it's $1,000, sometimes it's large, sometimes it's tens of thousands of dollars. So there is a statistic that I actually, as I was preparing for today's topic, I was reading about this. It's from the Federal Trade Commission. So they put out a report every year on financial crimes. So the message they said is the number of people who are reporting financial losses of greater than $10,000 between the years of 2020 to 2024 has essentially increased 4 times.
Wow.
And here is another more shocking statistic, Joe. Number of people who are talking about $100,000 or more claims increased 8 times in
Oh
the
my
same
gosh.
period.
Wow.
So it is out there. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of people who appear to be legitimate. And then when you eventually get them to sound helpful, they're helping you, and they ask for money, here is where the switch comes in, right? They baited you already. Here is the switch. They want you to pay in non-traditional ways.
Right.
Right? So this is an example where they would say, hey, you need to bring gift cards out and hand it off to this person. The last time I checked, no agency works with gift cards for a third party.
No, or they'll want you to get a gift card and then give you some scratch off something to verify the code or something. I've seen that as well.
Yes, and if they're doing it on the phone, they just want
Yes.
to take your card number and then
Right.
scratch off and give you that code so that they can go online and redeem it somewhere.
Right.
This is the gift card approach.
Right.
It gets worse, right? The gift cards usually are not big ticket items. It gets worse.
Unless you have 10 or 20 of them. They want you to get 10 or 20 of
Yeah,
them.
I mean, it's still a few hundreds and thousands,
Right,
but I'm
right.
talking about tens of thousands of dollars here. So
Right.
what ends up happening is they will convince you that you need to take cash because now it's somehow you're being investigated for some kind of maybe a piece that you ordered online or you did something and you're all part of this investigation for some kind of a fraud or a trade claim or whatever. They want you to take thousands of dollars. They make you go to the bank, withdraw from the ATM, and then have you take this money physically to an cryptocurrency ATM.
Oh,
So apparently there is one cryptocurrency ATM somewhere in the East Colonial, somewhere here.
there was one right around the corner from here.
Yeah. So I didn't. Okay. So,
Oh, yeah.
So there are these cryptocurrency ATMs that are out there, and crypto is a fun thing that a lot of people like to talk about. They essentially encourage you to go and deposit into a cryptocurrency account. So now you have no recourse. It's in your own action. You can go to law enforcement. There's not a whole lot they can do because it's not traceable and it was voluntary action at this point.
Right.
So these are ways in which people are being taken advantage of. And so today we just wanted to talk a little bit about it and hopefully go from there. We have a couple of callers.
So let's go to Peter. Peter, you there? Thanks for hanging on. What's up?
Yeah, hi, good morning. Can anybody tell me what is the purpose? Every day, maybe twice a day, I get calls from people that are asking, do you want to sell they want to buy my house. I don't have it listed.
Mm-hmm.
They know my name. They know my address. What is the purpose of doing it? Is that another fraud? Is that a scam scheme? Or any opinion on that?
Well, it's possible.
It's possible, exactly, and I get that call all the time, Peter. They reach out, they come to talk to you about it. I don't think it's necessarily. It's not. I don't know for sure that if it's a fraud, but essentially, I think it's a way for them to extend the conversation, because I wonder if it takes you to another path once you start acknowledging that you have a house. So typically, when somebody calls me and says, I see you have a house, are you interested in selling? I usually say, hey, politely, I say, thank you very much, I'm not interested, or you have the wrong number, and just say, hey, please take me off your calling list. Invariably, it goes off.
I think a red flag would be in this circumstance if, as Dave said, if they lead you down a path and then say, well, we need to list it for you, give us your credit card number or give us some more information. That's number one. Number two, it could be some form of fraudulent transfer. So if you're going to sell your house, by all means, this is not do-it-yourself time for most people. Get an attorney involved and be sure it's legit. Now, I'm sure that there are real estate agents out there that are looking for listings, and they're just doing their job, trying to find properties to list. And I'm sure that some of the calls that you get are probably fall in that category. But there are some scammers out there that are looking some way, as Dave said, to get you on the phone, to get more information about you, perhaps get your credit card information, or to have they need your social security number to be sure that you own the property for whatever reason that might be. So
Best advice, if it's something that you did not initiate, just politely thank them and call it a day and ask them to take you off the list.
maybe
Usually
time to
works.
change your number, Peter.
No, I wouldn't go there, Joe.
Well, thanks for the call. Yeah, there's a lot of scams out there. We're going to get into more detail on that. And once again, we encourage our listeners to call in if you've been a victim, or if you know somebody who's been a victim. I think what we want to do this morning is really alert our listeners. We have a lot of protocols here at Certified Financial Group when clients need to withdraw money that is going in the right hands. But there's a lot of circumstances out there where there are mistakes being made. So what we want to do is educate our listeners. And once again, those numbers are That's your cue, Josh.
Thank you so much. If you want to call in, the lines are open for you. 844-580-9326. I sold a house 6 years ago, and I still get calls trying to buy that very same house.
There you go.
844-580-9326. More On the Money coming right up. You are listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today.
with the Certified Financial Group.
This hour was paid for by the host and does not reflect the opinion of WDBO. Now, the three big things you need to know.
3. The U.S. and Israel attacked Iran on Saturday in what President Donald Trump said was a massive operation to destroy the country's military capabilities and eliminate the threat of it creating a nuclear weapon. According to Iran's state-run IRNA news agency, at least 40 people were reported killed at a girls' school in southern Iran. Iran's foreign ministry says it will defend its homeland, and its Revolutionary Guard said it launched counterattacks, firing drones and missiles at Israel and strikes aimed at U.S. military installations in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar.
This is WDBO.
Governor DeSantis announced that around $8 million is being awarded through the Florida Job Growth Grant Fund.
The Sanford City Commission yesterday approved plans to tear down an old Macy's and build what is expected to be a Costco.
From City Hall to your backyard, we cover the stories that matter to you. Download the WDBO app and stay tuned to WDBO AM 580.
Ever wonder what happens to your financial future if something unexpected happens to your financial advisor?
With many financial firms just being one or two people,
it's a question worth asking.
Yeah, especially if they decide to take up skydiving.
But hey, at Certified Financial Group, they've been answering that question the same way for nearly a half a century. They've got a team of 17 certified financial planner professionals with more than 450 years of combined experience working as fiduciaries. That's right, an entire squad.
has been chosen once again as one of the top 100 financial advisory firms by CNBC out of nearly 40,000. And because they won't divulge the selection criteria, asked my colleagues what they thought.
Maybe it's because our history dates back almost 50 years.
Could be because we're independent, but we custody with national firms like Fidelity and others.
17 CFP professionals under one roof.
Or it could be because we're CFEX certified.
And a real person answers the phone.
In any case, we're proud to have been selected. So if you're looking for financial planning or investment advice for a fee, look us up online. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that CFEX demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standards. This independent verification is even more critical for trustees and investment committee members of retirement plans who are legally required to conduct regular due diligence on their service providers. Use a CFEX certified firm, and that job has been done already by an expert at no expense to the plan. So why leave anything to chance? Insist on working with investment professionals you can truly trust. Insist on using a CFEX certified advisor.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey, Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chop. And you want to.
Certified financial planners Dave Balakrishnan and Joe Bert guiding the conversation today. Open lines available to you, 844-580-9326, 844-580 WDBO, or send in your open mic using the free WDBO app. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Yeah, so kind of building on this theme today, right? So just as Peter called, if you end up having somebody reach out to you that you did not initiate, I think it's fair to be skeptic. And if it's not anywhere in the zone of things that is in a top priority in your mind, you might as well just say politely thank you and hang up.
And they're going to come in not only through a phone call, they're going to come in through text or an email.
Yep, absolutely.
So any way that they can contact you, you need to be alert.
And believe it or not, there is a lot of information they can find on you just by putting yourself on the internet. Just go to Google and put yourself in. You'll find everything from your address, your associated family members, your social security number is probably the only thing that's missing. But almost everything else is available there. So again, a lot of information is out there. Not to be scared, but just be aware, right? If you didn't initiate it and if it's not a topic that's been on top of your mind, you may want to just politely say thank you very much and hang up.
Yeah.
Use the screener. Use the screener on your phones. Now Apple and Google phones have the screener, the call screeners, where you can essentially have an AI voice, ask them to announce themselves before they even pick you up, right? This is something that you see. It's a feature that's becoming more and more popular. A little bit getting used to, but if you know it's from a call that you don't recognize, or if it's somebody you don't know, just use that. Text, like you said, Joe, texts are a common thing. We're getting into the tax season, guys. So there is taxes that are coming in. A text that's coming in saying, "Oh, you've submitted your tax filing. So do you want to verify if you're going to get a refund?" And they have a link.
Yeah. And one of the oldest scams, been around a long time, particularly in tax season, where you have these tax preparers that will claim to do their return for you, and they file false returns to get you a big refund. This is the big scam out there. They promise you big refunds. They keep a portion of that, and they file a false tax return. At the end of the day, you're on the hook when the IRS catches up with you. So be very, very skeptical, particularly when you have these roadside signs, or increase big tax refund, get your tax refund quickly. Be very, very skeptical about those situations.
And then if you're ever in a situation where you're working with somebody and they're helping you prepare your tax return, but at the end they refuse to sign the tax return with their name.
Yep, for sure. We got a call hanging. Let's get this call real quick before the bottom of the hour there, Josh.
You got it. We got George calling in from Orlando. Go ahead, George.
Hey, George, what's up?
Hey, Mr. Bert, you might remember that I told you that Social Security Medicare had reduced my payments because I had withdrawn that big amount of money from my annuity IRA.
Right, I remember. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So with the help of my lovely daughter, she got in contact with them, and they said that they were going to call me to have a telephone conference so I could explain why they shouldn't do that. So Thursday, they called, and this nice lady, and we had a conference between me, my lovely daughter, myself, and explained to them that this was an income. This was money that I got from my IRA to help my kids out.
So real quick, George, how'd it work out? Did you get your money? Did you get some relief?
I got reestablished, and I got my $50 raise. They had been $114 on the minus column after they did all that, because 64 and 50 is 114.
Very
now
good.
I'm back up to par.
Very good. Appreciate the update, and you got a great daughter there working for you. I see we're at the bottom of the hour there. Josh, take it away.
If you want to call in, you got a story to tell, you got someone to warn about a story of yours, 844-580-9326 is the number to call, 844-580-WDBO. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that CFEX demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standards. This independent verification is even more critical for trustees and investment committee members of retirement plans who are legally required to conduct regular due diligence on their service providers. Use a CFEX certified firm, and that job has been done already by an expert at no expense to the plan. So why leave anything to chance? Insist on working with investment professionals you can truly trust. Insist on using a CFEX certified advisor.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey, Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal? Oh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak. Just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit. It's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy. Your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs. She's going to take all the measurements. She's going to run all of her analysis. And she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that. If she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker and says, you know, I got 200 grand, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance, what should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
What is a fiduciary? When it comes to investing, a fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest. For 40 years, planners at Certified Financial Group have been guiding our local clients toward financial peace of mind. The rest of the world is still catching up, but our team of certified financial planners are the local, experienced fiduciaries you can trust. Certified Financial Group are your Central Florida planners. Call us today.
CFG has been chosen.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Welcome back to On the Money here on WDBO AM 580, always streaming inside your very own WDBO app. Today we got two certified financial planners. We got Dave Balakrishnan and Joe Bert walking us through this great hour. We're talking about scams this hour. So if you've got a question about how to handle one, or if you think you've gotten one in the mail, on the email, or a phone, by all means, call in right now. 844-580-9326 is the number to call. We also have Rodney Ownby taking your calls off the air if you want to just say, hey, this is my exact situation. I don't want to be discreet with my details. I want to talk right to the experts at a Certified Financial Group. Rodney Ownby available, 407-869-9800. 407-869-9800. Dave and Joe, I don't know about you guys, but I've lately, because of all these scams I hear about, maybe it's because I work in the news industry and I hear about them quite a bit, that I've developed a habit of just assuming everything is a scam. Just like I want, anytime I see a new video that seems interesting, I just kind of assume that it's AI until proven otherwise now. That's how I feel about scams now. If I get an email or if somebody calls me expecting some information, I immediately say, hey, no offense, but I'm going to hang up on you and I'm going to call back the number that's on your website, and then I'll eventually get back to you if you are legit. But I just kind of have developed those habits over the years.
You're 100% right. With AI today, what you can do in terms of graphics and in terms of video is incredible. In fact, I've become very, very, very skeptical about the videos that I see on the internet.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, it's so unfortunate that we've come to a point where you almost have to
assume it's bogus.
Right. And it's an unfortunate situation, but again, I think being careful is the smart thing to do. Exactly as Josh was leading into this. If you're not sure, hang up, call back. I mean, nowadays I get caller IDs with Wells Fargo calling me about wanting to buy my house. I'm like, when does Wells Fargo buy my house? Right? So you get these calls. I mean, they've gotten so sophisticated. The caller IDs are faked. The logo that shows up on your phone is faked. So again, it doesn't hurt to be cautious, but it's just unfortunate that we are having to live in such a society where, you got to watch literally everywhere around you.
If you take take this to the extreme, I'll give you an example to start with. So last night I was on Facebook looking at something, and up popped a picture of a cute dog on the side of a road, attached with a leash to a signpost, and it's just sitting there. Cutest dog you've ever seen. A car's going by. It just broke your heart just to look at it, and then I'm looking at this isn't real. Because first of all, if somebody was taking that video of the dog sitting there, the dog wouldn't just be sitting there. He'd be approaching you. The dog was just sitting there looking as cute as could be. So taking this to the next level, with the ability of AI to take your voice, to take your picture, transpose that into a video, to send to you, to tell you I'm in trouble, send money, that's going to happen. I see it's going to happen if it hasn't happened already. Friends, boy, it's a scary world out there.
Go ahead, Josh. Yeah.
I know in that particular instance, if you were to receive a call from what sounded like your grandson for money, I know a lot of families have enacted a code word. Where if this is real over the phone, you have to say the code word, or I'm going to assume it's a scam.
Yes,
absolutely, exactly. That's absolutely a tip where if you're for your family members, between grandchildren and grandparents, have a bit of a safe word or something, a code word that you can use to identify yourself. It's absolutely important to be able to protect yourself. Yeah, again, we were kind of just before the break, we were talking a little bit about some of these IRS, some of the tax season coming in and how people are being, targeted for different things. Again, if you've attended one of my seminars that I do here, something that I've always a pet peeve of mine is, you get a lot of resources online. It's educational, but it's not financial advice, right? So along the same theme, so there is this thing that's talking about this cute dog, Joe. That's what reminded me of this, right? There is a scam out there where they're talking about using your dog, it's maybe an emotional therapy support dog or whatever, as a tax deduction.
Mm-hmm.
So you can essentially say, you can write off all your expenses for the care of your pet as a tax deduction. Again, there's all these scams that people are trying to put out there, trying to get you to be curious, get into more details, maybe explain how you do this or whatever. Again, just don't take it for what it is. IRS does not have a deduction for pets. It just doesn't exist.
It wasn't in the big beautiful bill.
It was not.
Son of a gun.
So again, IRS, interestingly enough, as I was doing some kind of background work for today's show, Joe, IRS puts something called this Dirty Dozen. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
Oh yeah,
right. So IRS, if you just type in IRS Dirty Dozen, it actually takes you to an IRS website, and you actually have links from year to year. Every year, around the middle of the year, they put out the top 12 kind of these fake scams around tax season, around taxes that people should be aware of. There's some interesting stuff that you see in there. So again, I welcome you. Just search for IRS Dirty Dozen. It's about these deductions, these deductions for private placement insurance stuff. There's all kinds of weird things that talk about deductions. Again, as we're getting into the tax season and you want to find a way to get a little bit more on your tax return, you are essentially exposing yourself if you go down these rabbit holes. So just being careful, watchful for what you click on is absolutely important.
The exact site, would that be irs.gov/dirty dozen? Is that how you
I would say
find it?
just do it on the search. It gets you there, but I think there's a word in between.
Okay.
There's a word in between.
So Google IRS Dirty Dozen, it'll take you to the website.
It'll take you, and look for the irs.gov website, and it will take you there. It's the very first link right up there. Same thing on the ssa.gov. You can actually go to ssa.gov/scam. And it actually takes you to some of the social security related scams.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually go there to find some of this, right? So I will talk about some of these resources and how to approach this. And I figured it might be appropriate for me to share a specific example of something I recently was exposed to.
Sure.
And again, and also this is a bit of an unfortunate story of somebody I know very well. So they essentially were working on their computer, browsing on their website, and then it just showed up on their screen. There was a screen that showed up, and it said, there was a screen that was running on the side with saying, all in red and viruses and something is there and your computer
Right.
is being locked
Alert,
down.
alert,
and
alert.
alert, flashing red signs, right?
Right.
And this is almost taking over your whole screen. So they decide there. And then the only thing you can do is there is a button to call, or there is just a big call number. Call now, call now. So now they're panicking. So they call this number, right? So they call this number. And this person essentially is like, oh, sorry to hear. We are here from tech support, blah, 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 blah. And then leads them to talk about, okay, here is a link for you to, go to this website. They disable the screen because it is a screen that somehow they know, look for something around the screen, click on it in some sequence. It's like, just like you touch with your left finger and the right leg and then maybe the left toe or whatever. Somehow manage a way to close that thing. And then they ask you to go to a website. They ask you to download something. So they actually downloaded this stuff.
That's the start.
And now they're in your computer. So once they're in the computer, now they're like essentially like trying to be helpful. So again, this is shifted from emotionally getting involved to where they've shifted. And eventually they started kind of running some diagnostics, and then they eventually said, well, there is this, something is being misused in your computer. There's child porn in your thing, and there's all kinds of stuff that they alluded to. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, have you used this thing for bank transactions, and what do you do, and so on. So here you are. So you're now trying to be helpful. Somebody's telling you their computer's been compromised and has been involved in some nefarious activities. And finally, they are essentially saying, do you bank with them? So now they're getting more information. So this particular, household that I know very, very, very well, they essentially went on and told them about the bank that they work with.
Oh, gee.
And then they kind of managed to even log in to see if there is any fraudulent transactions. And so now all this while the other person is watching.
Yep.
Right. So now you're in the screen, you're watching. They now see your bank balance.
First of all, they get your password, and they get your
right.
They get your username and password, and once they get that, it's over.
And then they're like, okay, we need to talk about it. So now they know how much money you have. So they know how much they can ask. Right? And it says, okay, yeah, we're here to help. We're going to have this. Let me get this person who's in this division that is taking care of this authority. Now they bring this authority to say, hey, he's here to help. And then they directed this person over to that person. They hand it off. And that person essentially now has all this information as well as to how much money they have. And now they're offering you a service. And guess what? That number is just a little shy of your bank balance.
Yeah.
That's how much it costs.
Yeah.
So now this is what it is. And then these people said, oh, okay, obviously you're now emotionally involved, you're panicking, you're involved to say, okay, I got to deal with this now. And now there is a way and there is even a path to a solution. Now there is a price. So now you have all of this and they say, okay, fine, let's move forward. Once you say move forward, then comes this other switch that I was talking about earlier. How am I going to get paid? Yep. And this particular household, unfortunately, ended up, that's how I got to know that there's enough of these cryptocurrency ATMs around town. They essentially took $10,000, took this money, and then put it out there.
Oh my gosh!
And put it into the
cryptocurrency
ATM, and until they realized, right? So similarly, there is this other story that just broke out 2 days ago in WFTV. There was a piece around a gold bar scam that got busted in Texas. Right. And unfortunately, some local community stores are also potentially involved. This is in Altamont Springs.
How does this work?
So this one is where somebody calls and says, the government is changing this thing. Your dollar is weak, blah, 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 blah. Your money is not going to be worth a whole lot. You now need to take all this money and convert it into gold or something else. And by the way, we are here to help you safekeep all this gold because you don't want to have all this money. So step one, they're basically convinced you that the world is coming to an end.
So you need to buy gold.
You need to buy gold.
And we'll hold it for you.
And we'll hold it for you. Right? And so here, this particular situation, people essentially took their life savings, took all their money, converted that into gold bars, right? Withdrew the money, converted it into gold bars. And then there is somebody sent to escort your gold to a safe place. And guess what? The safe place is a store or some kind of a center. And you take the gold over there and then they take the gold, and I'm assuming they gave you a receipt for what it's worth. And eventually, that's the end of the story. So apparently, there is a scam that's been being watched for over a year in Texas, and they essentially busted $150 million worth of gold.
Oh, my gosh.
And essentially, this is people who have submitted, essentially given money or deposited gold. The takeaway is the government doesn't call you. If they're offering a free service of something, nobody sends you people to escort your assets. You need to wake up. You need to slow down. You need to pause.
Yep.
I hear some bumper music there, Josh. Take it away.
If you want to call in right now, we got the two certified financial planners, Joe Bert, Dave Balakrishnan, answering your questions. 844-580-9326. 844-580-WDBO. We also have Rodney Ownby taking your calls off the air, live in the four walls at Certified Financial Group. 407-869-9800. 407-869-9800. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial.
Looking for financial planning or investment advice for a fee? Look us up online. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that CFEX demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standards. This independent verification is even more critical for trustees and investment committee members of retirement plans who are legally required to conduct regular due diligence on their service providers. Use a CFEX certified firm, and that job has been done already by an expert at no expense to the plan. So why leave anything to chance? Insist on working with investment professionals you can truly trust. Insist on using a CFEX certified advisor.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in, you say, hey, Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal, oh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak, just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit, it's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy, your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs, she's going to take all the measurements, she's going to run all of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that, if she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker and says, you know, I got 200 grand, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance, what should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
Video app. This is your chance to talk to the experts in the Certified Financial Group. We got Dave Balakrishnan and Joe Bert live on the air now. But as this show comes to a close, I invite you to write down this number, 407-869-9800. That is Rodney Omby standing by to take your questions off the air or a few minutes after this show closes. Again, 407-869-9800. Just a few minutes left, Dave.
Yep. Thank you, Josh. Yeah. So as we were, kind of talking about resources to look up, I looked up the website over the break, and so to get to that IRS Dirty Dozen, you can go to irs.gov/help/tax-scams. So I'll say that again, irs.gov/help/tax-scams. So similarly on the SSA website, I think that I was right. It's ssa.gov/scam. SCAM scam, you will be able to find about trends, topping things that the government is aware of in terms of things that's going on out there, so that you can be a little bit more educated, right? Now, as we kind of get around to wrapping today's show up, right? We've all worked hard to build this nest egg to have a comfortable retirement. So it's absolutely important we do what we can to save it, protect it, and obviously use it for our benefit, and then maybe for other purposes, charity or children. So being cautious is important. So again, we don't want to close the show with fear of things that are happening around us. We want to close the show talking about resources that you can lean on to be able to approach if you are ever, somehow involved in such a situation, right? First thing, educate yourself in terms of these resources. If you could look up, IRS, and the Federal Trade Commission is a great place also because they actually collect a lot of information. So there are resources there for you to report, ftc.gov, and I think it's in this week, as we are getting into this week called the Consumer Protection Week, National Consumer Protection Week. And then these initiatives are out there to educate people. And if you actually take a minute to go and look for it, and National Consumer Protection Week, NCPW, there are links in there that tell you how you can report these financial crimes. So there's actually resources that you can use to report. The other aspect, before you get to a reporting mode, hopefully you're not involved. So here is how you can approach a situation if you're ever there. So just as some of the call, we had a call earlier. If you don't recognize a number that they called you, hang up, politely tell them to take you off the calling list. If you have managed to get past that point and you are involved in a conversation, it is absolutely important to remain calm. It's difficult, but it's important to remain calm. They are either using fear or speed to push you through. So you want to slow down. So that is the most important thing. And if you think that you're being pushed too hard, talk to somebody that you trust. Maybe your children, maybe your best friend. Reach out to them and say, hey, this is what's going on. Educate yourself. Be there. Make sure that you slow down. That invariably protects you from getting yourself too far deep into some of these scams.
Bring the emotion out, not only when it comes to scams, but also investing. This is where people make mistakes. When emotion takes over, they see the news, they think the world's coming to an end. and they act emotionally in the long term, it really hurts you. So
Thank you all for listening.
yeah, hopefully this has been educational for our listeners. Our job is to tell you what we see. That, we're trying to protect your money. We have strict protocols here to do that for our clients. If you want more information about that, reach out to Dave or me, and hope to see you next week.
Thank you much, Joe Bert, Dave Balakrishnan, 2 certified financial planners, a 3rd certified financial planner by the name of Rodney Ownby, taking your calls as this show comes to a close. 407-869-9800. You've just listened to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
today
with the Certified Financial Group.